2024 is the gift that keeps on giving, especially if you're a survival horror fan. Right after making a review for a survival horror game a few days ago, a new one released today, and it's actually pretty good. Sorry We're Closed is a brand new indie survival horror game by Alamode Games. It features classic survival horror mechanics while adding some pretty cool modern ideas to the mix, ultimately turning it into something way more unique. You play as Michelle, a young woman who's trying to break a curse that is placed on her by a powerful demon. Still trying to get over a bad breakup, Michelle lives in a small community of people who know, help, and hinder each other. Working at a local convenience store, Michelle's story of dealing with this curse begins one night when she goes to bed. This powerful demon that I mentioned pays her a visit and puts a curse on her, ultimately kickstarting the final days of Michelle's life. She will eventually fall victim to this curse, unless of course she can find a way to break the curse. During her adventure, Michelle meets some old and some new faces. There are tons of different characters that you can interact with in Sorry We're Closed. While some of these characters assist Michelle in her quest, some try to hinder her progress. And vice versa, in some cases, these characters ask for Michelle's help for certain things. Getting revenge on someone, distracting another person, finding something to eat for another one. There's quite a lot of side stories to follow in the game. And without going too much into spoiler territory, I can tell you that some of these decisions that you make in these side story situations will have consequences, and they will decide which ending you will get. There are 4 endings, and that's all I'm going to say. You will have most of these character interactions in between actual levels at hub areas. You can interact with a bunch of different characters and objects in these hub areas, and even read some notes or get some more details about the overall lore of the game. These parts reminded me of the social link parts of new Persona games, where you would just roam around the small town talking to other people, learning new things, and advancing side stories. The writing in the game is pretty good and engaging, so it personally never felt boring to listen to these characters or read the notes that I found around the place. Devs did a really good job with world building here. Sorry We're Closed features a combination of vibrant and dark, gloomy colors. While the characters, weapons, and some items are colored with sharp, bright colors, the environment on the other hand is always colored in a monotone, rusty way. The best comparison that I could make would be Silent Hill 3. Imagine the rusty otherworld segments from that game and it will probably pop up in your mind. Sorry We're Closed has a similar color palette when it comes to environments. That, combined with the vibrant colors, creates an overall fulfilling composition to look at. The same goes for all the characters that you encounter in the game. As I said, there's a lot of unique characters in this game. They're all designed beautifully, all dressed up with colorful clothing straight out of a pride march where people would celebrate who they are. And that seems to be an important topic in this game. I've been in a bunch of pride marches back in my Muslim-dominant home country and even got beaten by the cops simply for being there, supporting and defending my queer friends, and the clothing style I see in this game reminds me of those events. Just people dressing up in a colorful, flamboyant way, screaming, "I am here." Now, going back to the game, let's talk about my favorite thing about Sorry We're Closed. The gameplay. Let's get something out of the way first. This is a survival horror game, so it has puzzles, exploration, item management, save points, resource management, key items. You know the drill at this point. The game has it all. Puzzles are nice, key items are not so hard to find, it has a bunch of collectibles and optional stuff, the game rewards you for exploring and being inquisitive. It's a full survival horror package. But what I really liked about this game was its combat, and I want to talk about that. Sorry We're Closed has a pretty cool combat system. First of all, while the player character moves in fixed camera angles, she can also go into first person. It's all seamless too. You simply press and hold the aim button, which is right click on mouse and keyboard, and you go into first person. You can't move in this camera mode, so you gotta station yourself carefully before going into combat. While you can use this free camera anywhere, whether you're in combat or not, in combat specific situations, it makes it so that you can free aim and shoot or melee attack. While you can attack and take down your enemies this way, hold up, it gets better. Due to a plot reason that I'm not gonna say, Michelle gains a key ability somewhere around the beginning of the game. Thanks to this ability, Michelle is able to phase into the other side to find valuable things, solve puzzles, and sometimes even go through blocked paths. This ability also makes it so that she can see the weak parts or points of her enemies. Each and every enemy you encounter in the game has a weak part. These parts are shown with a crystal heart symbol, and shooting one staggers your enemy for a brief moment, giving you more time to shoot the next heart symbol, and then the other until the enemy is downed. This makes combat so much more engaging and high stakes, because you can shoot your enemies from a distance without this ability. It's gonna take longer to take them down and they won't get staggered, but you will be safer from a distance. See, in order to use this ability, you have to get close to your enemies, which makes combat riskier. Sure, if you can manage to hit their weak spots, they'll die easier, but they will also be closer to you. If you miss a shot and they don't get staggered, you take damage. It's even worse if there is more than one enemy in the room. They can quickly surround you and take you down. Some enemies, let's call them elites, don't just die when you kill them. They instead get stunned for a little bit. You can, however, kill these enemies too. This is where the other ability comes into play, the Heartbreaker. Heartbreaker is a special kind of weapon that Michelle can only use after she hits a bunch of enemies in their weak points and kills them. It's even better if she manages to hit all the weak spots and gets a perfect rating from a kill. Once the Heartbreaker bar fills, you can shoot a single devastating shot that can destroy almost all enemy types. It's a pretty strong weapon that you can and should use in sticky situations where you're surrounded by a bunch of enemies with one or more of them being elites. You can also upgrade this ability and a bunch of other things with a currency called Yowza. I think that's how you read that. You can get Yowza by completing some tasks for some NPCs or selling some artifacts that you find around different parts of the game. You can upgrade your weapons, your special abilities, your ammo capacity, recovery item capacity, firearm power, a whole bunch of things to make yourself stronger in combat situations. As a last thing, I want to also touch upon the sound department a little. The game has a great atmosphere, and while the visuals and the overall story does the heavy lifting, its sound design only complements these and carries them even further. The only thing I dislike are the rap tracks, I guess. They sound a bit out of place, but honestly, it could just be a different taste situation. I had the same reaction when I heard a rap music track in a Mortal Kombat trailer. I thought this game would have worked better with 9 Inch Nails style industrial melodic rock tracks. But hey, different tastes, and we'll leave it at that. When I first started the game, I wished that it had voice acting, because reading a bunch of words was going to be boring. That's not because there was something particularly boring about this game specifically, but rather the writing in a bunch of modern games have sucked so badly, I simply just expect it to be equally as bad or worse in pretty much all the other games these days. Because it feels like a lot of these writers who write stories or dialogues in these games do a lot of writing, but don't do enough reading. At least that's how it feels like to me. I'm glad to say that Sorry We're Closed is an amazing exception. It has great writing that manages to keep me engaged, a curious backstory that I keep finding myself trying to dig deeper into, interesting characters with interesting backgrounds, and an overall world building that I'm not used to seeing in many games these days. Overall, I really enjoyed my time with Sorry We're Closed. I was not thinking about making a review for this game because I wasn't really particularly interested in it. But I decided to try it out after I received a key for it, and it turned out to be much better than I thought. So I felt like I needed to make a review and let other people know that they shouldn't skip this one. I hope you enjoyed this review. Please leave a like and subscribe if you did, it helps a lot. And if you end up playing the game, please do let me know what you think of it in the comments below. You can find all my links in the description. I'm on Twitter, Blue Sky, TikTok, Instagram, Twitch. You can find me in all of those places via the links. You should also join my Discord server with 2,000 something members at this point. It's a chill place with chill people. But that will be all from me for now, folks. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.